Hey, what's up, everybody? Today's video, we're going to be doing a real purchase order with real products and real analysis on Amazon to see how many units of each product I should be buying or not buying. And I'm also going to show you the mechanics of putting together a purchase order and sending it off to a supplier, and also a little bit about the software that I use to determine how I decide what quantities to purchase. So this software is called the Restock Pro, and basically all of your Amazon listings, you assign them to suppliers. So this supplier is called Hotlicks. So you would go through it, it imports all of your Amazon inventory, and then you basically categorize it per supplier. So when you go in to do an order with a supplier, all of the products associated with that supplier show up here. And you can filter those products any which way you want. So some might be profitable at the moment, some might not be. You can set minimum margin filters if you want to just look at the stuff that's making money right now. And you can filter for maximum sales rank or minimum sales velocity. Really, any which way you want, you can filter up here, which is useful if there's a lot of SKUs to go through. And basically, the restock suggestion here, suggested reorder, is based on a calculation that you give it. So the software is going to go through every SKU and suggest how many you should order based on prior velocity. And you basically tell the software how you want it to calculate, like what factors you want to use. So in this calculator here, it'll actually justify why it's telling you to order this much. So let's go through this real quick. So it'll show 2 day, 7 day, 30 day, etc. sales velocity. And you can tell the software whether to take into account the 2 day 100% or the 30 day 100% or a weighted average between them. So what I do is a mix of 2 day, 7 day, 30 day, and 60 day velocity. It weights the importance of each of these periods to provide like a weighted average. And that's what this is. So 4.87 units a day is the weighted average across all the different time periods. And then you also tell it how many days of stock you want to order for. Some sellers will order as little as 2 or 3 weeks of stock. Others will go really deep, 3, 4+ months of stock. On average, I try to hover between 28 days and 56 days of stock. And so what I tell the software is to try to top up to 56 days of stock, which based on this velocity would be 272 units. And then it also factors in supplier lead time. So how many days it takes from the day the supplier gets the order from you until it lands in your warehouse. Some suppliers are really fast. They'll ship next day and then it's at your warehouse within a week. Other suppliers take quite a bit of time to produce your order, in which case it might take up to 2 months or more. So this is a supplier that's a little bit on the slower side. They're also on the other coast, which adds a week or two. So it also factors that in, how long it's going to take you to receive the items. And then lastly, there's local lead time. So that's the amount of time it takes you once it does land in your warehouse or your prep center, how long it takes to prep and assemble the products and then inbound to Amazon and for Amazon to receive it and then make it available for sale. So this whole process actually takes quite a bit of time, and therefore it's going to take quite a bit of stock, at least initially, to stock up the SKU. And then you're going to reorder periodically, whether it be like a weekly schedule or monthly schedule, bi-monthly, however you want to do it. But initially, often you're going to have to stock up pretty big in order to then reorder with enough time to not only stay in stock, but to stay in stock with a minimum stock level, if that's what you're after. And lastly, it's going to show coverage available. So I happen to already have 39 units of stock at Amazon, and I already have an order pending on the way to me for 360 units. So it's going to factor that in. So your coverage required total minus what's already either on hand already in your warehouse or at Amazon or on order, and it's going to subtract those two. So coverage required 667, coverage available 399, and then it's going to come up with this 268 unit recommendation. So on every SKU, it has this recommendation based on the inputs you give it, but you're really the best judge of whether you want to go with that blindly or look at some other factors. I would recommend you still look at keep it charts, look at other factors, that may be swaying you to order a lot more, a lot less than what the software is recommending. For instance, if this were a seasonal product, you may know that's going to pick up big time, but the software may not. So you might want to buy 3 or 4 times as much if you're entering in the high season for a product. Or maybe the opposite's true. Maybe you already sold through high season and it's selling very quickly. That's going to wind down pretty soon. The software might recommend some huge quantity of the season's over, in which case you're just going to not buy it all or wind it down. So stuff like that you want to keep in mind. Also the number of competitive sellers, also the profitability. The suggestion is just going to be based on velocity and not really profitability. Fortunately, it does display the profitability. Over here, it's going to show your profit margin and your ROI. And there's, again, a calculator. You can look at the buy box price minus your buy cost minus Amazon fees. So this particular one, it looks like I'm going to make about $1 a unit, 9% margin. So this is really on the low end of what I'd be willing to accept. But yeah, still feasible. Other SKUs might be break even or even losing. If you don't have an exclusive deal or it's not your own brand, often the price is just going to fluctuate up and down. And some months, what you can buy is going to be very profitable. Other months, there might be too many competitive sellers on it and it's break even or worse, in which case you can just skip over it and just buy the SKUs that are profitable right now. Or even better, try to predict the market a little bit because there's some pretty predictable patterns. If you see sellers starting to drop off a little and it's not profitable right now, it usually means it might be a good opportunity to buy, knowing that when you inbound it in a month or two, the price should have recovered by that point. It does pay to be a little bit contrarian sometimes as well. And I'll show you hopefully some examples in the Keep It charts of stuff like that. So that's basically how the software works. And what you can do is click on this link and it'll take you to the Amazon listing. And I like to go through and just verify some of the stuff and also look at the Keep It chart for each product. So let's get into the first product here. So I have a buy cost or a profit calculator here and I can plug in the buy cost. So it's $5.10. So it's making 95 cents. 19% ROI, 10% margin, as the software said. 5 competing offers, 200 plus bought per month. And pro tip, this is usually on the low end. From what I hear, this 200 plus is like unique buyers and not actually units. So that's how many like people ordered the product, and they might buy 5 of these or 10 of these or 20 of these for a birthday party. And this number is not factoring in the number of units. So I've always found this number to be good. It's helpful, but I've found it's almost always on the low end. I would add 50 to 100% to this number. 300, 400 units sold per month is more accurate. Now let's look at the Keep It chart. So I'm going into price history, number of sellers. So it looks like the price was about $13 for a few months in Q1 of this year. And the price has basically slowly eroded over time, which is not really what you want to see. But on the other hand, it looks like the sellers might be peaking, which means the price probably isn't going to go much lower than this. This is just a classic pattern you're going to see in almost every Keep It chart with multiple sellers. The number of sellers climbs, and that always puts downward pressure on the buy box price. And at some point, the number of sellers will peak, and then it gets like rock bottom more or less. So it looks like for 3 or 4 months here is like $9.50, and at that price, let's see, I think it was at $9.45. You'd still make a tiny bit of money, but not really after your overhead, returns, etc. But the good news, it never got lower than that. And then usually what happens is other sellers with access to the product, they won't buy it here because they do the same analysis and often will have the same buy cost, and they'll say, oh, it's not worth it to buy this to make 45 cents a unit. So they don't buy. And then as the product sells through, the sellers will sell through. And then as the competition goes down, usually the price will always go up. As you can see, the sellers sold through in October of last year. A couple came back on briefly, but what happened was the price went up to basically $12.99. And at $12.99, the numbers are a lot more attractive. Almost $3 profit a unit, 23% margin, 58% ROI, a lot better numbers there. So my take on this product is that the price is pretty much bottoming out. I see a one seller already sold through. So if I bought this now, by the time it's in Amazon, I would hope to see the price rebound a little bit. Worst case, it stays the same for a while, in which case I'm still making like $1 a unit. So those are some of the factors I'm considering. So I'm just going to take this recommendation and buy this much. And then on your first order, it's going to ask you to name your PO. So I'll just say Hot Licks June or something like that. You can ship it to a warehouse location or directly to Amazon if the supplier allows it. It'll create the PO. And then the cool thing about this software is this is actually 4 separate products that I'm ordering, and it's what they call a kit. So the product will come as 4 different SKUs, and then my warehouse or prep center will assemble those together into kits. And what the software will do, it'll break down the PO into the components. So we open this up here. As you can see, it's broken down into the 4 different products that we have to order from the supplier to make this kit. And you always want to be ordering in their language. They don't want to see ASINs or any Amazon related stuff unless that's how they're selling the product. They want to see their own supplier SKUs or their own part numbers, like what they refer to the products as, their titles, their SKUs, so they can easily understand what you're ordering. And then it's on you as the seller to assemble things how you want to. But as far as the supplier is concerned, they just want to know how many of their products you want. And they want nothing to do with 2-packs or 6-packs or variety packs, anything like that. Another recommendation is always buy by the case. In this software, you can put in the case pack information, number of units, weights, dimensions, etc. And if you order less than a case, it's going to automatically round up to the closest case. That's a setting you can enable, and I recommend everyone do that. It makes it easier for the supplier to not have to break up cases, and it also makes it easier for you to just get neatly case packed items instead of partial cases and loose products and stuff like that. So I ordered 270, but we rounded up to 360, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with going a little bit deeper on the product. It's a pretty low price product. So I would maybe think twice and maybe try to round down a little bit or possibly break up the case if it was very expensive. But this is such a cheap product that I don't mind just rounding up to the case. Already we're at $1,836 just for this product here. Let's go on to the next one. This looks like another kit. It's a 4-pack of toothpicks, suggesting that we order 220. Let's take a look here. According to Restock Pro, this is basically breaking even, makes 2 cents a unit. So we may skip over it, but let's take a look. Their buy cost is $2.64. It's already plugged in here. Yeah, so this is break even. Has a very good sales rank, 31K in health and household. That's a strong rank. Probably sells 800 to 1,000 units a month. However, the price has been pretty low for the past 3 months in a row. And I imagine at some point in time it will restore to a better price, but for now it's just, it's not attractive, and the number of sellers looks like it's basically staying the same. I will take note of last Q4, like from September all the way through February, the price was $9 a unit. And then a lot of products, it does the best in December. So when I reanalyze this in September, I might think twice, or I might even take a chance. If the price is down here and I have the opportunity to buy it, I might give some weight to this pattern from last year. And worst case, you break even. Best case, you make quite a good return. So let's say at $8.99, now we're all of a sudden talking about 103% ROI, 30% profit margins. But I'm going to pass on this one for now, just because it's break even. Let's go to the next. This is actually unavailable altogether, and it looks like it has been for years. I think this is just a part of a combo pack, which is why I have it up there, but I would never order this on my own. Let's look at the toothpick 6-pack. This does appear profitable, and I'm out of stock. So our buy cost is $3.96. Oh, okay. So that Amazon listing was taken down. So you can also set to ignore or even deactivate products where the listing goes down if you want to. I like to keep them up though, just in case someone reinstates the listing. Now we have this variety 6-pack mint and cinnamon toothpicks. Looks like it is profitable, $3.96. Just clicking through these, a lot of these listings are down. As a result, I would actually contact the brand about this and be like, why did these go down? And maybe something you can help them with, or maybe they don't want any of these combo packs. So that would be something to get clarity on. This particular brand I haven't bought from in a decent amount of time, and I actually recently just decided it's not worth my time anymore, despite it making some money. I just have bigger accounts to deal with, which is why I'm doing this video here, using this as an example. This is a meltable product, I'm pretty sure. And as you can see in prior years, people did sell it for a brief period of time. Last year, you can look at that date range. So people did have it through like mid-February, probably 100K rank. So this would be like maybe a once a year buy, $21. And then let's see the buy cost on this, $4.91. So this could be quite profitable. So you'd maybe want to do one order of 100 units or something like during meltable season. But yeah, anything like chocolate like this, usually after mid-April, they start removing it automatically. But yeah, this looks like a feasible buy during the season. But since it is June right now, we're going to skip over that one. Okay, another kit here. Okay. So this one appears decent. Makes $1.38, 15% margin, 37% ROI. I'm out of stock of this. When you're out of stock, the software is not going to suggest anything necessarily because it just doesn't have the historical data to go off. So this is where you have to decide how many you're going to stock initially. Between 50 and 100 sold a month. I bet it's even more. Price is pretty stable at about $9. It looks like the case pack is $2.40, so that's pretty significant roundup. Again, these products are pretty cheap, so I don't mind having a little bit extra. And as an initial stock up, you need that much anyway, since the lead time is so long. We'll add $2.40 there, and then if we go back to the PO, you'll see there's another kit of these 3 SKUs here. Breaks it down automatically. Now the PO's at $2,736. And let's keep going. This one looks profitable. And this single makes as much as the 3-pack kit does. 27% margin, quite good. Price has fluctuated. It's recovering a bit. But actually what I would do with this order, since each of these SKUs that comprise this 3-pack, they have their own standalone listings. So I'd put maybe half of them on the 3-pack, but then the other half on these individual listings, which actually look quite a bit more profitable. So these make 160% ROI, very healthy profit margin. They don't sell all that fast, but they might sell 30, 40 units a month. At $2 a pop, it's still $60, $70 profit per month. Times 12 months is $700, $800 a year if you had this thing in stock all the time. Let's see, we have another 4-pack. This appears to break even. Our buy cost is $7.80 on this. Good velocity, but yeah, the profit is just not there right now. Then I'll look backwards in time, and it looks like during Q4 earlier in the year, it was at more like $15. If it were at this price, it would be feasible. So it's just something to keep an eye on. And it looks like we have a couple here that look a lot more profitable. So this picture is misleading, to be honest. It's for just this single thing, but there's a picture of a 4-pack. So I'd probably avoid this listing altogether. And I think it's the same with this. But then these two are more accurate. So this is just the single lollipop, $1.95. And healthy numbers, Not much velocity. You might sell 10 to 20 of these a month, but profitable nevertheless. Let's see. Now I'm going to look for outliers, decently profitable stuff with good velocity. And there's actually a shortcut. You can see the sales rank and the category right here. So you don't have to open every single listing up. You can even filter it if you just don't want to sell anything above 100K in a category, or even 50K, whatever your criteria is. You can just filter that out. But I have no filters on right now. Let's see. This one's sub 100K rank, makes $1.85 at 18% margin. That looks decent. So buy cost is $4.20 here. Yep, good margin, $2.50 profit at 25% profit margin, and okay velocity. Again, you probably sell 30 to 50 of these a month. Not bad. So a lot of suppliers are like this, where they've got a bunch of products. They're no like huge home runs, but there are a lot that make maybe $100 profit a month. And then if you buy 20 or 30 of them across the supplier, it adds up across all the SKUs to $2,000 profit a month. And then you think about that on a yearly basis, $24,000 a year, which is very substantial amount of profit. Often wholesale is just about the accumulation of lots and lots of SKUs, even though it seems like each single SKU isn't obviously going to make you a crazy amount of money. And there are so many accounts like this too that are just more beginner friendly accounts, lower stakes, $2,000-$3,000 orders. There's plenty of opportunity, and they're often a lot lower barrier to entry, where you inquire for a wholesale account and they'll just send you a price list. They don't even ask really anything. And see, this one looks insanely profitable. $125 buy cost, or was it even less? Yeah, $125. So this makes 50% margin, almost $4 a unit. Not bad, not bad. Break even, this one looks good. Oh, and I'm supposed to be buying this stuff, aren't I? So I know a case is $240, so I'll add $240. And with that type of ROI, I don't mind buying like 6 months of stock, especially at $1. Like, I'm okay spending $300 to make $600 over, even if it takes 6 months. It's perfectly acceptable to me. All right, now we got this one. Yeah, the velocity is just not there. I know the case pack quantity is 360, so I'm just not going to buy that much. And this appears to have quite a good rank. That's because that 4-pack we looked at earlier is on here too, which comprises most of the sales. But we do have this entire case of 20, which makes $1.50 a unit, but pretty low ROI margin. So I'm probably not going to mess with that. It looks like, again, Q4, the prices were better at $25. It looks pretty decent. So the theme with this account, from what I'm seeing with the keep out, I would definitely do a sizable order in September, October, and maybe get double the stock as normal, because everything's selling like twice as faster in Q4 and for a better margin. And then most of the year round, I would probably just either not buy or just kind of coast. So now that we have our PO created, what you can do is either directly email the PO. You can put your sales rep's name in the supplier info. And if you hit that email button, it's going to just email them and say PO, your business name, and they'll just start processing the order, where you can just save it, and then you can edit anything on here that you want before sending it off. And then you can also download a PDF, which basically looks like this. And that's basically it. So what I do is basically go through every supplier on a cadence. So some suppliers I'll try to order every single week. Other suppliers, that's not really feasible, and I'll order every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks or every quarter even. It just depends. And then I have some seasonal suppliers that I might just do one big order per year for Q4 or something like that. So determine how frequently you want to order, how many days of stock you want to order for, what your buying criteria is, and then the software will basically help you build those orders without having to do any of the math to try and add up stuff like how many single packs go for this 2-pack versus this 4-pack versus this variety pack. That's what I like about this software. It just does the math for you. And when you go in and actually complete the order, it'll show you what your intent was, like what multi-packs to put things on. So I'll actually show that to you right now in one moment. So now we're within the section here where you can edit. So often when you put in a purchase order, they'll actually get back to you and say, oh, we don't have this one product, or the price on this actually went up from $1.25 to $1.35, or any variety of things. So you can go in here and edit it after the fact. So if you have to remove certain things from the order, you can. If you have to adjust the pricing or add shipping or add line item discounts, you can do all that stuff. It's very flexible, which is nice. And here we have the base SKUs that we ordered and the quantity. And as you can see, it's all like one case of product. And then in this tab over here, we have the intent. It relates like what parts are going to make one kit or which kits. And then that's all laid out in the notes here. So either your warehouse or your 3PL can use these notes to know what to build. They'll know what to build, and then any leftover is implied that it will sell on the single. The reason why it says 269 instead of 360 is because for this 4-pack, I didn't say order by the case, but if I wanted the 4-pack always by the case, I would toggle that on, and then the entire 360 would be allocated to that 4-pack. Yeah, so that's like the real nitty-gritty ordering process for Amazon Wholesale. And softwares like this really help you spend a lot of money and order a lot of products in not that much time, especially if you utilize profitability filters or rank filters and just get down to what's the best stuff to order. And then if you're not like double checking all of the software's work, you'll get more and more confident and trusting like the quantities they tell you to order are correct for a reason. And then honestly, you can just hit one button. If you really trust it, just add everything, send off the PO, and it's next to no work. Hopefully this gives you an insight into how to order for wholesale. There are days where I will go through the software across multiple my bigger suppliers and order 500,000 or even $1 million of product. It's pretty crazy. I like that. It's all organized for you, laid out. You can view the profitability, velocity, everything you need. It's infinitely easier than trying to go through Seller Central and use their velocity metrics and try to put together an order on a spreadsheet. It's possible in the beginning, but eventually you're going to need some sort of software, in my opinion. Hope you enjoyed this video and got a lot of value out of it. And I'll be back shortly with more wholesale videos, more in the trenches of really doing it rather than cursory high-level stuff. I'll see you in the next video, and thank you.